Today, we're going to actually discuss about a very important topic when it comes to web applications development. I just wanted to, give you a smooth introduction into this. What is web applications like? Would you want to put it into chat? What is a web application? Yes, whatever is your idea of web application, you can just put it into the chat. Okay, let me just tell you what is a web application. So a web application is nothing but a general website which you can browse through over the web. Talent says broadcast form, that is a kind of web application. So that is one part of a web application. There are so many different web applications. We know health applications, we know communications applications, just like this Zoom we are using. And there are so many more e-commerce, social media, etc. Now, all of these applications are governed by a lot of data. Okay. Each of these applications either store a lot of data or give you a lot of data. For example, e-commerce website would give you a lot of data based on the inventory which they have. So when we talk about databases are, you would say, the soul of web applications. Without any data, the web applications would be totally empty, right? And that's what we are going to see in this webinar. As you all know, data is the new oil. Earlier, when anybody got oil, under their home, they would become rich. And today, whoever is able to get information from the data, which many companies are generating, TBs and TBs of data every day, that person can become rich just based on the information which the data is giving them. So why not use the data in web applications in a much better form? For example, Facebook and Instagram, they have a lot of data, okay? But as soon as you sign in or log in, you would see immediately, like not even a second's delay, and it will bombard you with so many posts which your friends and followers, friends and people whom you follow have posted. So how is that so fast? And you keep on browsing, you keep on interacting with the system, you have all these music streaming systems, etc. You keep on doing so much with the data, and it still does not, hang. If you have good enough bandwidth. Why is that so? Because they have a very efficient database system. And that is extremely important if you want to design modern applications, if you want to design applications that would cater to a huge number of population. So if you have a lot of data, what if you put that data in this format? And if you put your data in just like trash in a dustbin, if you want to find information or some relevant data, you would be looking at it something like this for hours, and you would not be able to understand how to go about it. So you really need to have a good way of organizing data and storing data. So when I talk about, so much about data, what is data? Data is actually any fact that can be recorded or stored. So it can be in variety of forms. It can be text, numbers, media, bytes, etc. You could store it on paper. You could, remember it in your memory, or you could store it on any electronic memory. Now, what is a database? Database is a collection of data. Like, for example, you have a phone book, you have people's names and their contact numbers. That is a database. So that is a database. You might have, your entire life's wishes, what you want to do. That could be a database. Instagram has a user base. That is a database. Your previous school details, your previous mark sheet details, all of that is a database, in fact. So any collection of related information is a database. Now, what is DBMS? DBMS is actually a special software which is created just to maintain your database. Okay. So it manages, various operations like creation or storing data, updating data, or creating table into databases, and a lot more. And why is that so? Because if you realize that if you have a shopping list on your paper, it may be unreliable. You may lose it and you may forget it if it is in your memory. But if you keep it on a computer in a proper software, then it stays there reliably, and it also helps you in remembering as and when you want. So that is the importance and the magic of database management system. You store a lot of data and you get it as soon as you want. And it has effective storage, effective retrieval. So everything is very fast with a database management system. Now, where does database actually, get its place in a web application? So in your web application, you may have the entire front end, which is created using HTML5, CSS3, JavaScript, or you may use libraries such as React or frameworks such as Angular or Bootstrap. This entire front end would communicate with your backend, or you would call it middleware, which may be coded in either Java or Python or Node.js or PHP. Your backend is making requests to your database, and it keeps making requests. It makes so many requests that, sometimes database really gets, overloaded. Your database could be a relational database, for example, MySQL or Oracle or Postgres, or it could be a NoSQL database or non-relational database, which is MongoDB or Cassandra. I'm sure if you would have, followed something in computer science, you would know about, you would have heard at least, relational database, NoSQL database, etc. So in this, we are actually going to talk about all of that. And you would have APIs on all of these layers. So this is where database comes into picture. What are the components of DBMS? I mean, see, you have your server, okay, it's a hardware, okay, and then you have your database system sitting on top of it. Then you need a software or a graphical user interface or any interface which would, allow you to deal with that database sitting on your server. And then you obviously need data to fill into that database, because otherwise, where's the magic? And then you have your data. Okay, fine. But now you want some important information, maybe you want important information about all the toppers of last 10 years of your college. So you would want to tell your database management system that, see, go to all the students which are, in the past 10 years, and then, filter out students with the maximum marks for me. So that is a kind of procedure which you want to tell the database. But how would you tell the database? The database doesn't understand English or Hindi or Tamil. The database understands a query language, or you would say data access language, and in which you want to access the data. Okay, so let's discuss at length about what are the characteristics of database management systems. So every database has transactions from concurrent user accesses. So it's not that your web application would be only used by you, because then it's a bad web application, right? You want your web application to be used by millions of people. So if millions of people are using it, you would have concurrently at the same time so many user accesses in your database, right? So your database should essentially, ideally, have asset properties which are atomicity, isolation, consistency, and durability. So in a very short time, I will just tell you what is atomicity. So if you have a bank application and what you want is you want to transfer 1,000 rupees from person A to person B. So what your application would do is deduct 1,000 rupees from person A's bank account, update plus 1,000 rupees to person B's bank account, and commit that change. What if the person A's bank account is deducted by 1,000 rupees and then suddenly your database crashed, or suddenly a problem happened? So now that 1,000 rupees is nowhere, and you won't be able to retrieve that 1,000 rupees for person A, and the person A would be totally mad at you. You don't want that. You want atomicity. You want that this step 1 and step 2 should either happen together or do not happen at all. So what if the deduction happened and then some problem happened? You could simply roll back. So there are two things which I said: commit and roll back. Okay. So once everything is done, you commit, and if some problem happens in between, you roll back to the beginning and you do not do anything at all. So then you could simply say, some problem happened with the transfer, etc. What is isolation? So if person A is doing anything on Instagram and person B is doing anything on Instagram, person A should not be viewing the small changes which person B is doing. Okay. So person A and person B, their activity should be totally non-related. Person A should only be seeing the final result of what is happening. Okay. So person B is watching something, person A doesn't care. Isolated. Okay. And consistency. So if you have, let's say, a sales data, okay, you see what sales are happening. Okay. And then you do a next read of what is the total sales. But then you realize, oh no, the things are not adding up properly. Why? Because maybe after you did the first read, in the second read, somebody updated the database and the sales figure goes up. That is inconsistency. You don't want that. You want, whenever you're dealing with the database, every time when you ask databases, it should be consistent. Okay. Your data should not be, changed because of somebody else. So how would that your database management system take care of that? And durability. If you do anything in your application, it should be present in your database the next time you come into it. You liked some photo, it should be there. That like should be there the next time you open your profile, right? That durability has to be there. It should not be that, the database, forgot to update itself. So asset properties maintain data in a healthy state always. Then what else database provides us? It provides us automatic backup and recovery procedures. It makes it very easy to manage large amounts of data. It helps us handle security. It helps us in importing and exporting data, maybe from our Excel sheet or from any JSON file, etc. It helps us interact with the web application. So obviously, if you have, let's say, a MongoDB database, and you have a web application written in Node.js, there should be a way of Node.js connecting to the MongoDB database, right? So database management system of MongoDB should be able to handle this kind of interaction with the web applications. Also, it's always good to have a graphical user interface, which people pronounce like that. So that really helps us, in seeing our data in forms of tables, etc. And obviously, it should provide easy maintenance. It should reduce time and improve efficiency of that developer or the entire web application. Also, there has to be integrity. Okay. The data has to be correct and true. Also, you should control redundancy. What happens is that maybe one data is present in a number of places. For example, your name is Satish Jesu. It should be present, at all places as Satish Jesu. So it should not be as Satish J at some place and somewhere else, because, that is not data integrity, and you are introducing redundancy. Unnecessarily, your name is again and again present in the database. You don't want that. So that helps. Database management system helps in that. Now, people want to share data. That should be easy with database management system. And with all of these cloud data centers coming into shape, for example, in Amazon AWS, we could put our data. So DBMS is now capable of storing almost infinite data. You could keep buying space and, hosting your database over there. Now, what are some of the challenges which you may find while handling databases? Now, database, obviously, the size is huge. So there's a lot of cost involved into it. And there's a lot of complexity, and you should be able to handle the complexity, because after all, you want millions of users using the web application and your business to grow, right? Also, developing a large database, installing it, replicating it, backing it up, it can be difficult and expensive, but that's why, you and me would get our salaries as database engineers, right? You really need better hardware, which is going to require, handling all of the load on the database server. So the first thing which you do is, if you have a lot of users and your database server is not able to handle it, you make your hardware better. And then if there is high volume of transactions happening, maybe some gaming application you're creating and you have not created your database properly, the access times properly, then the processing times would be very high, and people would lose interest in your game. Also, in any database, whether it's a bank database, whether it's a Facebook database, whether it's any database, the security of the data and the integrity of the data is very, very critical. Someday it should not be that a user loses all of his or her data. That's the worst thing you could do to your user. So now we talked about two types of databases, right? Relational and non-relational, or people say SQL and NoSQL. So what is the difference? In relational database, we actually organize data into tables, and in non-relational, it's not into tables. It may be, flexible. The schema is changeable. What is schema? Schema is basically the skeleton of the table. Okay. So each table has columns and rows, and a unique key would identify each data row. So if you have students data, so maybe students enrollment number or roll number would identify each student. And relational database is actually used for schema and constraints and asset properties, which I just, discussed with you. And it's especially used if you have a lot of interrelated complex data, which you want to, maybe store it in a proper organized manner. And the best thing about this is there are very good tools available for use. So let me just show one to you. Now, what you're seeing on my screen is PHP MyAdmin, which is one of the graphical user interfaces we have for MySQL database. So now you can see a table over here, and this table is a student course table. So you have course name, department, and maximum limit of course. Or you could see customer table, in which you may have ID, name, and order ID, or some insurance related to them, and some orders table, etc. Or your database could be, comprising of huge number of tables, and you may want to, show log also your information. So your information, like it has an ID, which is actually identifying this log information. And this faculty person, which I'm not calling by the name of the teacher, but the ID of the teacher, this is actually mapping this log to that faculty, and this is known as foreign key over here. Okay, so there is a primary key over here, there's a foreign key over here, and then some message we are logging, and we are logging the date and time. So this really gives us good relational mapping with databases. On the other hand, you may have a NoSQL database, okay, something like this. So what happens is, in a NoSQL database, so here I'm giving you an example of MongoDB. MongoDB is a document-based database, and we have all of these things. Now, are these? These are collections which are equal to tables, and each collection would be having different rows. So every table has different rows, right? So each collection is actually having a number of documentation. So each document would look something like this. It would have an ID and then whatever schema we want to add. So here the schema is fixed. We have 4 columns into it. That's it. But here what happens is we can, add the question ID, question, for whom, from whom. Maybe, we can add the response. Maybe we can add the expiry time. We can add or delete anything over here. So that's really flexible actually. NoSQL could be key value stores, just as I showed you. There was a question ID and there was the value for that. Okay. So that is, really helpful if you want to have some sort of a caching in your server. So what happens is that Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc., they have their relational database, but then, for faster access, because as soon as we start using it, we really want things to happen fast, right? It cannot go to the main database and, do things. What do we do for faster access? We have a caching layer and we use a NoSQL database for that, for example, Redis. Or it could be a document-based database altogether, which works with JSON, just as I showed. MongoDB works with JSON. So that is really helpful if we have very high reads and write. So insertions and retrievals are very, very quick. So what we do over here is we may choose NoSQL database if we want to sacrifice the consistency of schema, the graphical user interface, and backup options if we want scalability and performance. So if you want very good performance and very high scalability for millions of users, then we would definitely go for NoSQL instead of SQL. But if we want, asset transactions specifically like banking applications, they would definitely go for relational databases.